net.
Good evening, and welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club's Monday evening transmission of Amateur Radio Newsline. My name is Russ, and my call is KD8VYT. But for this presentation of Newsline, I will be using the club call Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. Without further ado, this is Amateur Radio Newsline.
Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2460 with a release date of Friday, December 20th, 2024 to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. An artificial solar eclipse offers some lessons. New stewardship for the CQ Hall of Fame and YLs in Australia mark a half-century on the air. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline report number 2460 comes your way right now.
From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's first independent on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now, reporting from Wadsworth, Ohio, here's Stephen Kenford, N8WB.
We begin this week with a closer look at the ionosphere with the help of HAMSI. Many of us learned more about ionospheric changes that occur during a solar eclipse, but what's to be learned when researchers create an artificial solar eclipse? Two satellites are trying to help answer that question. Here's Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF, with that story.
Two satellites were launched from India in early December to study the sun's corona, creating artificial solar eclipses that will enable image capture of the sun's outer atmosphere. Flying in formation 150 meters apart, the two European Space Agency's Proba 3 satellites, Occulta and Chronograph, will work in tandem to create a precisely controlled shadow from one platform to the other and capture high-frequency images that will assist in the study of plasma waves and jets believed to heat the corona and have an impact on solar wind. The satellites are focusing on part of the corona that conventional instruments have not been able to study so far. The insights gained are expected to expand researchers' knowledge of elements of solar weather, such as coronal mass ejections and the acceleration of solar wind. ESA's Director General, Joseph Aschbacher, called Probe 3, quote, an important step toward more complex space operations. This mission shows how smaller spacecraft can work together to achieve goals that were not possible before, end quote. This is Jim Meechan, ZL2BHF.
Speaking of HAMSI, the Citizen Science Investigation Community is expecting a big year. In fact, that's the name of its new conference, as we hear from Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
HAMSI is asking everyone to save the date and plan to attend its conference in March at the New Jersey Institute of Technology in Newark, New Jersey. HAMS and the various communities of professional researchers will be sharing their thoughts during technical and scientific presentations that will be available both in person and virtually. The conference theme is HAMSI's Big Year, and the dates are March 14th and 15th. The discussions, as always, will include how amateur radio techniques can help illuminate the study of ionospheric disturbances and other phenomena, including solar flares, sporadic E, and geomagnetic storms. Those attending in person on Friday, March 14th will be able to go to the banquet dinner with a currently unannounced keynote speaker. The Friday program will offer an array of traditional science workshops. Saturday's lineup of talks will be directed at the various roles that ham radio operators as volunteers play in HamSci's research efforts. Their website is at hamsci.org, HAMSCI.org, for registration updates and other developments. This is Kevin Trotman, N5PRE.
The Whistler Group, a well-known electronics manufacturer with a product line that included radio scanners and power inverters, shut unexpectedly this month. A message on the website of the Bentonville, Arkansas business indicated that the website was, quote, currently unavailable, end quote, but gave no other details. The privately held company, which was founded in 1971, maintains its presence on LinkedIn and its YouTube channel, where a number of its products are showcased in videos. Nominations open soon for hams to be considered for the CQDX Hall of Fame. This award program was once overseen by CQ Magazine and is now going forward under new stewardship, as we hear from Jack Barker, W8ISH.
The International DX Association will be taking over management of the CQDX Hall of Fame, a program of CQ Magazine, Silent Key, last April. Bob Schenk, N200 Vice President of Index A, has announced that the nomination period opens on the 1st of January for inductees for 2025. Since 1967, hams whose names appear on the roll have done more than activate from challenging and remote locations. In many instances, they've been organizers of the trips and skillful navigators of political and environmental challenges in those locales, promoting goodwill and avoiding controversy. The nomination period closes on March 1st. Names of potential inductees, along with supporting documents, can be sent to Bob, who is also a member of the CQDX Hall of Fame and was DX editor of CQ Magazine. His email address is n200@comcast.net. The subject line of the email must include the words CQDX Hall of Fame. Inductees' names will be announced during the Southwest Ohio DX Association Dayton DX Dinner in May. This is Jack Parker, W8ISH.
An award-winning DXer who combined his love of radio with the generous spirit of humanitarianism has become a silent key. We hear about him from Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
Antonio Gonzalez, EA5RM, was a DX hunter and DXpeditioner whose accomplishments landed him in the CQDX Hall of Fame in 2020. His travels included the 9X0R DXpedition to Rwanda in 2008, the ST0RD expedition to South Sudan in 2011, and most recently an activation as 1A0C from the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, where he'd had 3 previous activations. His status in the CQDX Hall of Fame was echoed by inclusion in numerous other rolls of honor, but he also distinguished himself with the humanitarian work he combined with his love of radio. Communities in the Amazon rainforest will recall how they benefited from the dozen or more trips he made to Bolivia to provide HF communications between the remote villages and the medical facilities in the region, during which stays he would operate in his spare time a CP1XRM. His volunteer work supporting various NGOs included Solidaridad Médica España, earned him the ARRL's International Humanitarian Award in 2015 and the Intrepid DX's Humanitarian Award in 2017. Antonio became a silent key on the 8th of December at the age of 56. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
Congratulations to the winners of the Intrepid DX Group Youth Essay Contest. Their names were announced by Paul Ewing, N6PSE, the Intrepid Group's president. Top prize goes to 16-year-old Katie Campbell, KE8LQR, who wins an ICOM IC7300. Second place winner is 14-year-old Lila Shearer, KK7RRV, whose prize is an ICOM ID52A mobile radio with D-Star. The third third prize winner is 15-year-old Michael Simon, KK7KLG, who receives an ICOM T10 dual band HT. The youngster's essays addressed the topic of amateur radio's place in society and ways to attract other young amateurs in their age group. The winners of this 5th annual contest were selected from among 34 essays received. The Australian Ladies Amateur Radio Association is about to mark a half-century of bringing wiles together to celebrate amateur radio. They're hoping to gather some stories and some photos of years past as we hear from Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
Alara is turning 50 in 2025, and the big celebration will be in July at the Novotel Glen Waverley in Victoria. But there's plenty of work to be done beforehand. Organisers are assembling photographs of Alara members through the years, pictures showing them at various Alara events or simply operating portable and in their home shacks. These images are, after all, the story of Alara and how it grew to have a roster of more than 200 members, according to its website. A number of those members are overseas and have joined by being sponsored by YLs living here in Australia. Anyone with photos to share should contact Alara's president at the email address president@alara.org.au. Meanwhile, to finish up the business of 2024, Alara members will once again close out the year by presenting the national newscast for the Wireless Institute of Australia on the 22nd of December. Be listening. This is Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the DX2AAA repeater of the Association of Active Amateurs International, affiliated with the Philippine Amateur Radio Association. Newsline airs at 7 p.m. on Saturdays on 2 meters and can be accessed via All-Star and Echolink. It is always a celebration whenever the historic Alexanderson alternator in Sweden gets on the air. On Christmas Eve morning, it's happening again, and Jeremy Boot, G4NGH, tells us how to hear it.
If you tune to 17.2 kilohertz on Tuesday the 24th of December at 0800 UTC, you should be able to hear the traditional Christmas Eve message from SAQ Grimeton. The message of peace will be transmitted to the world using Morse code from the 100-year-old 200 kilowatt Alexanderson alternator. The radio station is a World Heritage Site that will also be welcoming visitors locally. A live stream will begin on YouTube at 0725 UTC, with the transmission to follow once the transmitter has been started up and tuned. Use the link that appears in the text version of this week's newscast to navigate to the SAQ Grimeton YouTube channel. The transmitter was last on the air on the 1st of December, marking the occasion of its centennial. The message sent was written by descendants of inventor Ernst F.W. Alexanderson, who built the transmitter. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
In Alaska, the Civil Air Patrol sees hope and possibilities for improved emergency response. They're finding it in HF radio. Andy Morrison, K9AWM, tells us what comes next.
In the hopes of increasing its responsiveness to emergencies throughout Alaska, the Alaska wing of the Civil Air Patrol is expanding its HF radio capability to make it more robust. Major General Torrance Sachs, Commissioner of the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, said that the state has a highly strategic geographic location, giving it prominence in homeland defense matters. He said that the ability to communicate better within the Alaska wing is, in his words, quote, paramount, unquote, in both natural disasters and emergencies. He said that expanding their HF capability is expected to improve communications with local, state, regional, and national agencies during these scenarios. Major General Sachs set a goal for testing and deployment of equipment and operators no later than March of 2026. He said the first priority will be to establish reliable redundancy on HF radio systems using basic voice. Data transmissions could come later. Meanwhile, 4 of the new HF radios were used in a recent communications exercise and successfully contacted states as far away as New Hampshire, Alabama, Colorado, and Arizona. The Civil Air Patrol is now looking to identify members of various squadrons who are willing to be trained to participate in emergency HF communications. This is Andy Morrison, K9AWM.
In the world of DX, the Israel Association of Radio Communication is celebrating the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah with special event stations, 4X8NER and 4Z8NER, starting on the 25th of December through the 2nd of January. See QRZ.com for QSL details. A certificate will be available. The bands are busy with calls from Santa Radio OF9X, Old Father 9 Xmas, until the 31st of December. Listen on 160 to 6 meters for CW, SSB, and FT8 signals. See QRZ.com for QSL details. The annual Russian New Year radio marathon will be on the air from the 29th of December to the 8th of January, with special call signs R2025NY and UE25NY. The event is being run by the Miller DX Club, QSL via RQ7L. Get ready for Ham Radio University of the United States. Club station W2HRU will be on the air from Long Island, New York, from the 30th of December through to the 4th of January, when the educational all-day event takes place for its 26th year. See QRZ.com for details. The printable QSL certificate will be available. We end this newscast with a Newsline holiday tradition, a ham log instead of a Yule log. This much-loved adaptation of the Clement Clark Moore classic is proof that 10 meters isn't the only place where magic happens. It surrounds us in the season and the community of amateur radio, as Jim Dameron, N8TMW, reminds us.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the shack, the rig was turned off and the mic cord lay slack. The antenna rotor had made its last turn. The tubes in the linear had long ceased to burn. I sat there relaxing and took off my specs, preparing to daydream of armchair DX. When suddenly, outside, I heard such a sound, I dashed out the door to see what was around. The moon shone down brightly and lighted the night. For sure, propagation for the low bands was right. I peered toward the roof where I heard all the racket, and there was some guy in a red fur-trimmed jacket. I stood there, perplexed, in a manner quite giddy. Just who was this stranger? Did it? He looked very much like an FCC guy who'd come to check up on some bad TVI. I shouted to him, "Old man, QRZ. Hey, you by the chimney all dressed up in red." I suddenly knew when I heard sleigh bells jingle, the guy on the rooftop was Jolly Kris Kringle. He had a big sack full of amateur gear, which was a big load for his prancing reindeer, transmitters, receivers for cabinets and racks, some meters and scopes, and a lot of coax. He said not a word, 'cause he'd finished his work. He picked up his sack and he turned with a jerk. As he leaped to his sleigh, he shouted with glee, and I knew in a moment he'd be QRT. I heard him transmit as he flew o'er the trees, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all 73. Reporting for Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jim Dameron, N8TMW.
If you haven't sent in your amateur radio haiku yet for Newsline's Haiku Challenge, what's stopping you? It's easy as writing a QSL card. Set your thoughts down using traditional haiku format. A 3-line verse with 5 syllables in the first line, 7 in the second, and 5 in the third. Submit your work on our website at arnewsline.org. With thanks to the Alexanderson Association, Australian Ladies Amateur Radio Association, Amateur Radio Daily, AMSAT News Service, BBC, David Behar, K7DB, DX News, The Frontiersman, HAMSI, 425 DX News, QRZ Forums, shortwaveradio.de, space.com, Wireless Institute of Australia, YouTube, and you, our listeners. That's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. We remind our listeners that Amateur Radio Newsline is an all-volunteer, non-profit organization that incurs expenses for its continued operation. If you wish to support us, please visit our website at arnewsline.org and know that we appreciate you all. We also remind our listeners that if you like our newscast, please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you subscribe to us. For now, with Karen Eve Murray, KD2 GUT at the news desk in New York and our news team worldwide, I'm Stephen Kinford, NAWB in Wadsworth, Ohio, saying 73. As always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2024, all rights reserved.
This concludes our Monday evening transmission of Amateur Radio Newsline. Net to start in about 9 minutes.
W8VPV. Repeater. W8VPV. Repeater. W8VPV. Repeater. PL110.9.
Calling all amateur radio operators. Welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club, Monday night VHF UHF net. My name is Frank. My call is W8ECT, but for the purposes of this net, I'll be using the club call Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. This is an open, directed net. All amateur radio operators are invited and encouraged to check in. You do not have to be a club member. All traffic will go through net control, and since emergency traffic may break in at any time, please leave a brief pause between transmissions. The purpose of this net is to bring together amateur radio operators for the exchanging of amateur-related ideas and information, to enhance net operating practices, and to keep our members up to date about club happenings. This net meets here every Monday evening at 8:30 p.m., preceded by Amateur Radio Newsline at 8:01. We'll start with some announcements, then ask for check-ins from officers or members who have information or announcements of general interest in the club. Once that's complete, we'll take check-ins 5 at a time, confirming each call before I move on to the next. Then we'll work those 5, ask for 5 more, repeat that until the check-in rate slows down, then we'll take you 1 at a time. If you're a regular participant, I'll probably recognize you by call sign. If not, please give me your call, repeat it phonetically, followed by your name and location. When checking in, all check-ins have been worked. I'll repeat the announcements and then close down the net. We also operate an HF plus 6-band exploration net starting at 9:30 p.m. after this net. Its approximate frequencies are posted on the web page, and it'll be announced on this repeater immediately prior to 9:30. Tonight will be on 8ers, and the frequency will approximately be 3.827. I'll have to dig around and find an open spot. 80 on evenings, especially in the winter, is usually pretty hard to get through on. So if you have the equipment and the resources and permissions, we appreciate you joining us. Okay, some real quick announcements, and then I do actually have a trivia question here. Coming up January 8th, we'll have a meeting and Zoom in person at Pilgrim United Church, and Zoomed online will be a presentation called Using a Vector Network Analyzer. Back in November, we went probably deeper into the theory than some hams wanted of what impedance is made up and how reactance and resistance changes, antenna size changes. This time we're going to look at a machine that measures that and extracts from that various things like SWR and impedance and things like that. So we'll be talking about, and let me pause for 1 second here. We'll review the different VNAs available to hams. We'll talk about some of the limitations in using a VNA and why you would select a certain range of frequencies versus another. And then talk about a mandatory process called calibration. Both SOL, which is short open load, and SOLT, which is short open load termination. Once a VNA is calibrated, you can use it. We'll use ours to look at the efficiency of choke balance and see how they work and see how they can help keep power out of your shack. We will tune a dual band mag mount antenna, and if time permits, we'll explore an antenna and shift its feed point and watch how the resistance and impedance changes. So that's the presentation coming up. Let me pause for time here. And finally, question of the night: are you expecting Santa to bring you a ham radio-related gift of any type? So always curious to see what new equipment might be showing up in the area. All right, with that, let me see. I've done my announcements. Do we have any officers or members with announcements of general interest for the club?
Alpha Charlie 8 X-ray Oscar.
Go ahead, Vince.
End of the month, time to submit anything that looks like an article for January. Right now I have absolutely one article from Frank. Oh, that's you. And I thought you were going to send something, but you probably decided against it after my email from earlier in the month, since you were a little bit on the late side. But other than that, that's all I got, Frank. Merry Christmas, and back to that.
Very good, Vince. Anybody out there wants to submit a newsletter article, please consider doing so. And yeah, I suspended work on the Clubhouse article because things were changing there at a very rapid rate. And I will have several for you. I'm going to get on them this week. I've already celebrated Christmas with my family, so I will have time over the holidays to get caught up on things like that. All right. Do we have any other announcements from members or officers of general interest?
W3X with an announcement.
Go ahead, John.
Next Monday at 9:30. That's a fifth Monday of a month. So we operate the band exploration net on a different band, and so next Monday, that's December 30th at 9:30, we will be on 160 meters, and we're going to use an old modulation technique called AM, that's amplitude modulation. So I'll be the net control station for that. Again, that's and the frequency will be around 1887 kilohertz, plus or minus QRM. This is W3X back to the net.
Very good, John. I'll try to get that into my closing announcements to make sure everybody's aware of it. That'll be a fun one. Now that I've got my antenna tuner, well, I didn't repair it. I swapped it out. I've got the one repair on the bench now. But once I've got that done, I should be able to catch that, and I can put out a few watts of AM, probably around 25 or so. So, very good, John. And John was over at the club the other day, just real quick story, testing out a receiver, and we were dialing around on, I think it was 20 meters at the time, and all of a sudden this signal just came absolutely pounding through. It was just slamming the S meter into the wall. The speaker was jumping off the table. John and I were both scrambling to see what was going on, and we finally turned it down and was able to copy the call sign, and it's a local ham who lives approximately 700 feet from the clubhouse, and he has a very tall beam that he brags about in his QRZ entry, and a big amplifier. So this could be a problem down the road there, but it's an interesting one to deal with. All right, thanks, John. Appreciate it. Does anybody else have any general announcements for the general interest? Go ahead now. And by the way, Vince and John, I've got you both checked in. Great. Nothing heard. And Santa, I'll start off. Santa is not bringing me anything specifically ham radio this year. I'm watching for prices on a very nice spectrum analyzer, and I may jump on one of those someday, even though I've got one. This one is a step up in terms of dynamic range and accuracy, but no plans to get it before Christmas. So do we have any more check-ins? This is W8VPV. We'll go 5 in a row.
Hello, Bravo 8 Victor Golf X-Ray, Steve in Williamsfield, Ohio.
All right, Steve, I got you in there. Next.
KBI, in and out.
All right, Ron, got you on the page. Thanks. Have a good one. Next.
In and out.
Okay, we had a pilot, or had at least 2 people there on the station that ended with in and out. Go again.
KD8 ZSH Kilo Delta 8 Zulu Sierra Hotel. In and out.
All right, thanks for the comeback. And the other station, then go ahead. Good, Keith, I got you in there. Next.
Kilowatt Echo number 8 Queen, John.
8 Queen, got you. Let's take one more.
There and out. Bye.
All right, I doubled with somebody. Last station, try it again. All right, when I let off on the mic last time, somebody was talking and I doubled with you. I want to try it again. This This is W8VPV.
PD, this is KEAQ. Kilo Echo number 8 Queen.
All right, I have KEAQ. I thought I heard somebody else in there. We'll get right back to you then. All right, any more check-ins?
Kilo Echo 8 to Alpha X-Ray, Jesse, New Franklin, in and out.
Okay, gonna be a lot of in and out tonight. Nobody's getting anything for Christmas ham-related wise. Garrett, come on back. All right, back to the top of the list. Steve, KB8VGX, I think it is. Go ahead.
All right, well, thank you very much. Hopefully I can repeat her okay. And don't really have much to add to the net. If there's around 2, I'll probably excuse myself from it. But nothing particularly ham radio coming this way that I know of. I would like an IC 7610 and a 9700 together on the desk, but I don't have any. I don't have any plans for it happening this year. Thanks for having me be part of the net, and hopefully we'll catch you guys next week. 7-3.
Very good. Well, good luck, and maybe mid-season you'll have that opportunity. Every now and then I do put a buck in the lottery just to see what happens. Nothing exciting so far, but you never know. Very good. Couple of in and outs here. KE8TQR. Keith, go ahead.
W8VPV, KE8TQR. Good evening, Frank. Thanks for taking my check-in. Good evening to everyone else here tonight. Hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. Hopefully I'm getting over the cold that I seem to have picked up. At least I hope it's cold. Or the flu. Or something not that bad. But anyway, I think I'm getting over it. So if I sound a little different, that's because my nose is all plugged up. Anyway, I stayed on the warm side of the door today. We did not venture out. I did get down in here to the shack and did a little bit of soldering on some coax cable. I made a couple of nets tonight, so I'm having a little bit of time on the radio, and I'm enjoying it. But I did want to get in here. I want to wish everyone a safe, blessed, and very Merry Christmas, each and every one. I hope you're all going to be spending it with family, friends, and loved ones, and have a wonderful holiday. So with that, I'll send it back to you, Frank, and fine job again tonight. This is KE8TQR saying 73, God bless, and Merry Christmas.
All right, very good, Keith. You two have a very, very Merry Christmas. I can't say it tonight. Merry Christmas, and look forward to seeing you certainly next year. KE8Q, go ahead, John.
Good evening to everyone there. Wishing everybody a very happy New Year and Merry Christmas, and hopefully we'll still be here to have a next one. Yeah, we're talking on a Yaesu FM 6000. It's a brand new rig here with all kinds of garbage on it that I'm having trouble with. Anyway, 730.
All right, thanks very much. Yeah, these days you don't just flip a switch on and start turning a knob and expect the radio to work. Takes some time in the manual to figure out how to work, especially the ones with the displays and how to work through the menu system. I've got a 7300 I'm pretty comfortable with, and I've got an FTDX10 that I can stumble through, but it's not the one on my desk every day. It's my backup radio, and it stays away from electronics and away from where it could be damaged by an EMP. So I don't get a lot of use on that one, but I do understand, John. But that's the fun of it, is practicing and experimenting and figuring out how to make the machine work for you. And I'll tell you, as you're probably seeing, the modern radios these days in terms of sensitivity and filter skirt width and everything are just phenomenal compared to certainly 20 years ago and maybe even 15, 10. Thanks, John. Appreciate the check-in. We'll move along here. I'm at the bottom of my list. This is W8VPV, the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club. This is our Monday night VHF net, the last net before Christmas. Do we have any more check-ins?
Kilo Echo 8, Zulu Papa X-Ray, Jesse, New Franklin, in and out.
All right, ZPX from New Franklin. Got you in and out. Thanks very much. Have a Merry Christmas. Do we have any more?
This is Kilo Echo 8, Uniform Lima Charlie, KEULC, Curtin, Cuyahoga Falls.
KEULC, good to hear from you, Kurt. How'd things go? How you doing?
Well, I am 11 days out from hip surgery. I did ask the club if anybody had it done anterior hip. Doing quite well. Up and out, walking around. I'm very proud of the work that the Suma Hospital Orthopedics has done. I expect full recovery in just a few weeks. And I apologize to you, Frank, that I haven't been able to be there at the clubhouse to set up antennas. But as soon as this hip is ready, another 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be ready. So back to you, Frank.
Well, very good, Keith. Obviously, I'm delighted to hear how things are going. Do not apologize. I've seen several people. We have another member, Steve, who has either just undergone that or undergoing it soon this week. My sister just did it. I understand how painful and disabling it is. You just don't want to move down there, and so don't apologize. Keep working on the PT, even though it's not always fun. And love to see you at the clubhouse when you feel like you can make it. But we got an antenna up right now, so we're in good shape, and we need to do some cleanup and get that shack on the air. Come up with a contest here and do that. So good to hear you. I'm glad everything has worked out for you, and follow the PT's advice that in the end they will work out for you. Thanks a lot, Kurt. All right, W8VPV, looking for more check-ins.
K8HMS.
K8HMS on the high side. Come on in, Steve.
Yeah, hi Frank. Hi everybody. Good to hear you. Yeah, just got in the door. Was out shopping. So I wanna wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and hope all goes well this week for everybody. And other than that, not much going on. Getting a little freezing rain out there, but a little bit of call it drizzle or dribble or something. So anyway, Frank, glad you're getting me on the 440 side. So 7-3, and look for you at 9:30 wherever it is. KHMS.
All right, very good, Steve. A little noisy in there, but we got that. So take care and very Merry Christmas to you. W8VPV looking for more check-ins. Noisy signal, could not pick anything out. If you could increase power, maybe get higher in the house if you're using a handheld or something, give it another try.
KFA, ABD. Tony in the Merriman Valley, in and out.
All right, Tony, thanks very much. Appreciate you coming back there, and we'll have a very Merry Christmas. Do we have any more check-ins? Looks like it's going to be a short net tonight. I'm not going to prolong this too bad. Probably some good football games on. Probably not the Browns, but it is what it is. So that might be where everybody's tied up. But do we have any last check-ins? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and get the announcements out again, wrap this thing up, and move along.
This is K8BI, Bill in Cuyahoga Falls.
Good evening, Bill. How are you doing? And is Santa bringing you any test equipment or radios?
Well, good evening, Frank, and the rest of that, and happy holidays, Christmas, and otherwise to everybody. Well, I ordered, I guess Santa Bill ordered a little clamp meter, so that's actually supposed to be here today, but something tells me it's not going to show up this late. And instead of a nice shiny radio, I kind of followed the pattern of everybody else and got bionic parts. I got my knee joint replaced last Thursday, so it's going well, walking around doing stuff, so everything's on track with that. looking forward to getting around in the new year. And hope everyone really enjoys Christmas. It should be a nice one this year. Anyways, back to you, Frank. W8VPV, this is K8BI.
Very good, Bill. Well, yeah, that's the kind of equipment I hate to have to get replaced, but at least the option is there compared to the good old days. Let's see. I actually am getting something. I'm getting 4 7/16 DIN connector adapters from 7/16" DIN and 7/16" male and female to M female. The club received some equipment that uses those adapters, and I do not have them and have no idea where to get some. So I've got the order in, and they will be arriving, but it'll be after Christmas, unfortunately. So if that's anything, that's a couple of bucks of ham radio gear, but that's the only thing I'm getting. Thanks, Bill. Let's see here. We're at the bottom of the page. W8VPV looking for any last check-ins. Taking you one at a time now. Last chance. W8VPV. I'll wrap this up then. Coming up here, wrong page. Coming up here, January 8th at Pilgrimage Church of Christ in downtown Cuyahoga Falls, and on Zoom, we'll be going through using a VNA. I'll have a small vector network analyzer set up, and we'll be doing some actual hands-on use of it. We'll start in with a review of the different VNAs available out there to hams, understanding some of the limitations of the VNA and ranges of frequencies. We'll go through the mandatory calibration process, both SOL and SOLT, which are the two ways of using the VNA. Then we'll actually use it to measure how choke balance work and how effective they can be to help keep RF out of your system. We'll tune a dual band antenna with one, and if time permits then we'll take an antenna made of 2 whips and change the feed point and watch how the impedance behaves. So that's really about it. And I had a question out there about anybody expecting Santa to bring them any ham radio gear, but didn't really get anything there. So looks like it'll be a non-ham radio Christmas this year. All right, in closing, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for checking in, especially on this Christmas Eve night, or almost Christmas Eve night. I'm sure everybody's running errands and taking care of last-minute events. But again, thank you for checking in. Without your participation, there would be no net. This has been Frank, Mike Hall, W8ECT, and it's been my pleasure to host this evening's net. I'll now close the net with 13 check-ins, 14 check-ins, myself included, and return this repeater to normal and customary use. Keep in mind, we do have the HF plus 6-band explorations in net tonight on 80 meters at 9:30. I'm going to go down there and find exact frequency. We'll announce it here when I haven't decided.
Repeater, timeout. Time. Repeater out.
Brady, I definitely timed it out. Didn't realize it was going to do that on me. Just want to remind you, the HF plus 6-band exploration net tonight at 9:30, 80 meters, somewhere around 3.827. We'll announce it on this repeater just before we kick the net off. Thanks, everybody. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Enjoy the season. W8 ECTM clear.
W8VPV. Repeater. Port link off. W8VPV. Repeater.
Operators for the exchanging of amateur-related ideas and information to enhance net operating practices and to keep our members up to date about club happenings. This net meets here every Monday evening at 9:30 p.m. Local time, preceded by our VHF UHF at 8:30 and Amateur Radio Newsline at 8:01. We'll start with some announcements and ask for check-ins from any officer or member who has announcements of general interest to the club, and then we'll take check-ins. We'll do them one at a time here. We usually don't have any kind of a pile-up. Once the announcements are complete, we'll repeat the, once the check-ins are complete, we'll repeat the announcements and then bring this net to an end. Just real quick announcements. We've got a program coming up here January 8th using a VNA. We'll be reviewing the different units available to hams out there. We'll talk about some of their limitations as far as number of samples divided by the frequency you're spanning. We'll talk about calibration, the need for it, and the two types. There's actually probably more than two, but SOL and SOLT. We'll then use the VNA to look at how choke balance work. We'll then try to tune a dual band antenna with it. And then if time permits, we'll explore a dipole antenna made of 2 whips so we can change the feed point and see how that behaves. And I asked earlier on the net if Santa was expected to bring anything, and I didn't hear much, so if you're going to get something interesting, I'd love to hear about it. With that, let me go ahead and take check-ins. Do we have any officers or members with announcements of general interest? All right, none heard. Looking for check-ins. This is W8VPV.
W3X.
Okay, John, I was beginning to wonder if I was getting a signal out here. My meter says 50 watts and 1-to-1 SWR, but it was dead quiet. How you doing?
Okay, well, I'm picking you up 30 over 9, and I was just, I didn't want to break into the pile-up, just in case.
Yeah, I understand how that is. I still had to chuckle when we found that station, that ham. I measured it out on Google. I'll send you a picture of it. He's like 700 feet from the kitchen of the shack.
Yeah, and all we had for an antenna was a piece of wire about 3 feet long.
And actually, that's so small that it probably doesn't even qualify as an antenna. It's got to be 1% of the wavelength. Let's see, 80 meters is about 250 feet. Yeah, it probably is. 2.5 feet, it starts to exhibit antenna-like characteristics. So it's barely an antenna, but yeah, a piece of shielded cable stuck into an RCA adapter. But, well, the guy probably had a kilowatt or more going and a beam aimed our way, so you never know. All right, well, thanks, John. Anything else tonight?
No, that's all except that this net, a week from today, will be on 160 meters on or about 1887 kilohertz, and we'll be operating amplitude modulation.
I'll probably, at the end of this net tonight, I'll probably try to go down there and make sure I can tune up and get a signal out. So, sounds good, John, and have a very, very Merry Christmas. And again, thank you for all your help this last year, from moving you around to the clubhouse. You've been a real asset. All right, this is W8VPV looking for more check-ins.
Kilo Echo 8, Zulu Papa X-ray.
Okay, I think I heard a signal in there. I heard a pop on the call, and it might be Grenade ACP, but right in the noise. Try it again.
Kilo Echo 8, Zulu Papa X-ray.
Okay, I got a KE8, and what was the rest of the call?
Zulu Papa X-ray.
ZPX, okay, very good. Very noisy here tonight. go ahead. Anything for the net tonight?
No, I just wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. It is a little noisy tonight.
All right, well, very good. Thank you very much for the check-in. I really do appreciate it. And, of course, may you have a very Merry Christmas, and I hope next year is an awesome year for you. Thanks for the check-in. I sure do appreciate it. That gives me to check in. Do we have any more? This is W8VPV.
Kilo Echo 8, Tango, Quebec, Romeo.
TQR, Keith, coming in loud and clear tonight. Very good.
Well, good evening again, Frank. I just wanted to get in here and won't take up much time. Just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a blessed holiday. KE8.
All right, thank you very much, Keith. Are you on your new antennas yet? I'm curious.
Say again, Frank. KE8.
Are you using your new antenna array yet?
No, I'm on the off-center fed dipole right at the moment.
Okay, well, it's coming down here with an S9 to, it's bouncing right around S9, so, it's gotten better since we started talking. I'm hearing you real well now. All right, Keith, thanks very much again. Very Merry Christmas to you. This is W8VPV, the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club, Monday Night Band Exploration Net. Do we have any other check-ins? Yeah, I'm sure being the Monday before holiday, Christmas coming up here on Wednesday, a lot of people are doing a lot of errands, maybe a lot of football games on. So we'll try for one more call and then wrap it up, wind this net up. This is W8VPV, the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club Monday Night Band Exploration Net. This week on 80 meters. Do we have any last check-ins? All right, we'll wrap this up then. This has been the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club, W8VPV, and it's been my pleasure to take the time and do this net. And for preparing to close the net, I'd like to thank each and every one of you that took the time to join us tonight. Without your participation, there would be no net. This has been Frank, W8EZT, and it's been my pleasure to host this evening's net. We'll now close the net with 4 check-ins, myself included, and return this frequency to normal and customary amateur radio use. This is Whiskey 8VPV closing the net at 9:38 p.m. local time. Thanks, 73, and very Merry Christmas, everybody.
W8EZT, this is W03X.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I had Jesse a little over S9, and I had Keith, KE8TQR, about 10 or 15 over 9.
Well, Keith, I was getting fairly good. My SWR meter here is saying I've got a 1-to-1, but again, I'm doing a vertical here, and if they're really polarized, I think somebody, was on a off-center fed dipole, so you got polarization there. But no, I was not barely able to pick Jesse out of the noise. Appreciate that. Thanks, John.
I'm running this loaded dipole. It's a 40-meter, 80-meter dipole, and it has coils toward the end to make it so that it can do 80 meters. And then there's actually only about 5 feet of antenna wire beyond the coils for the 80 meters. So that's the story on that. So let's see, how many check-ins were there altogether then, counting yourself?
Total of 4 check-ins.
Okay, yeah, that's about how it's been running. I didn't hear Bill KE8 or KAAWTK check in, but maybe hopefully next he'll check in because he likes AM.
Yeah, we'll try to get it out on the announcements and everything. And I think, with Christmas coming up here in 2 days, everybody's running around shopping and packing presents. And I don't know if there's a football game of significance on tonight, but that may be drawing the crowd also. So, I'm happy at 4. We'll see what we can do with this.
Well, thanks again, John, for all your time and your efforts and help this year, and may you have also, you and your wife have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you sometime in the near future then. All right, this is W8, I guess I already signed, so W8EZT. Thanks, John. I'll be monitoring for a few seconds till I pull the switches.
Okay, W03X clear. 73 and Merry Christmas.
Is this frequency in use now? KA0RTM asking.
We are now clear. It's all yours. W8EZT.
Oh, thank you so much. We're kind of looking for a frequency. W4BAD, any copy on KA0RTM? I'm going to hang out here for just a few minutes till I get net control's attention. This is KA0RTM up in Rochester, Minnesota. And let me send a note here to W4BAD. There we go. CQ for now, and the other here, KA0RTM. W4BAD, any copy? KA0RTM. And W4BAD, any copy? KA0RTM.
KA0RTM, W4BAD. I got you, Mike. We're going to make it here. We'll make it 828. Thank you.
So I told him I would take it, so it's all yours, Mike. KA0RTM. This is KA0RTM, just waiting for the old Miss 80 meter net to start. Anybody who's joining it can just start chatting if you want with me until Mike starts the net. KA0RTM.
Hello, Mike, KB8UGP.
Is that KB8UGP? Is that you, Gary?
Roger.
Wow, you sound good in Minnesota tonight. Some nights I can't hear you, but you sound pretty crisp tonight. You running 100 watts?
Roger.
Yeah, that works pretty good for you, man. Anyway, yeah, there was a previous